The Sofia Gray Show.
Hello, listeners and kinky friends. Welcome to the Sofia Gray Show, where we discuss all things sex, kinks, and fetishes. From the sex stories to the latest trends in the erotic world, we talk taboo transparently. This podcast is brought to you by Sofia Gray, the largest used underwear marketplace. I'm Lacey Bloom, and I am flying solo today. Yes, it's true. My dear friend Tracy Bust will be back soon. But in the meantime, you are all luckily stuck with me. I hope everyone enjoyed my interview with Rachel Kramer Bussell in the last episode. Just in case it wasn't clear enough, I am a huge fan of Rachel's work. She edits and contributes to the publishing of some incredibly thoughtful and sexy reads. So please check out her books and stay tuned for whatever is coming up next for her. I know from our conversation that there's something coming up about orgasms, the big book of orgasms. In fact, I think it's called Coming Soon, because Rachel's told me on more than one occasion how much she enjoys saying the phrase coming soon is coming soon. So something to look forward to. But today, I am excited to talk about one of my favorite pastimes and something that I've grown especially fond of during the pandemic, and that is sexting. So obviously, at this point in time, I think you'd have to be living under a rock to not know what sexting is. But just in case, sexting is exactly what it sounds like. It is sexual texting. It's a type of cybersex that can be anything from sexually explicit text message to nude photos or videos. And I don't know about anybody else, but I happen to be a huge fan of sexting. I find myself rather frequently lately sexting. And what's great about it is that I think overall, it's relatively harmless. I can see where there could be some trouble to it, but I think it's fun for romantic partners near and far. I think it's fun whether you're in a long-term relationship to keep it exciting, or it's just something new and something sexy to do while you're waiting to meet up with people in real life. The beauty of sexting is that it, is relatively harmless. It's not going to be hurting people on either end of it. So what I did want to talk about, though, specifically with sexting, is that I know during the pandemic, a lot of people have been thinking about what kind of side hustle can I jump into? I want to earn a little extra cash. And we actually have talked about sexy side hustles on this podcast before. So if you are looking for a sexy side hustle, there are some things you might want to know about sexting, because you can, in fact, earn some cash by sexting. So let me go over some of the basics first. Who would pay to sext you? Well, let's be honest, a lot of people. They could be busy working professionals who don't have time for dating. They could be shy, introverted people who want more sexual experience. It could be people who are just interested in exploring sex or kinks online because maybe they're worried about being judged in real life. There are so many types of people that you will come across on the internet, that you will come across on apps, that you will come across while sexting, just like we would in real life. But there is something about, and we've talked about this, the beauty of hiding behind a computer screen or a phone is that you can feel a little more uninhibited. You can feel a little more free to express yourself. So it's no wonder and no surprise to me that there are plenty of people who are willing to pay for a sexting experience. So here's the important thing that I know everybody's wondering, because this is a question we get asked on Sofia Gray all the time in regards to selling underwear, and that's, how much money can I make? Well, okay, here's the thing. When it comes to any sort of side hustle, and you're talking to the queen of side hustles here, it really depends on a couple things. And one of them is how much time you put into whatever the side hustle is, whether it's, sexting or something else, and also what the earning potential is on the platform you're using. And we will be talking about a couple platforms in this episode. But for an example, there is a sexting service called Friendly. And just to be clear, it's spelled PHRENDLY. And this one targets the US and Canada. They offer a fixed rate, and then clients also have the option to tip you. And there are some extra incentives too. Chat Recruit, on the other hand, is a service where you get to set your rate per minute. The clients will either match with you and pay that or find someone else. And you can earn as much as $2 a minute. So, I mean, if you think about if your average sexting session lasts 45 minutes, that's $90 from one client. So just keep in mind that, one of the things we love on this podcast is research. I always talk about how sexy I find research and education. And if you are going to jump into a side hustle, I would say do your research. Make sure you know the facts about each app that you're getting involved with, how the app benefits from you as a user, and how you benefit as a user and potentially a seller by using this app. So now, how are sexting websites and apps different than dating apps? That's a good question. While you might expect to find websites like Tinder and Bumble on the list that I'm going to give you, you won't. And that's because those are dating apps. And yes, you can sext anyone on pretty much any communication app, but dating apps are apps that are set up to help you find a romantic partner. Now, we know that's not always the case. Plenty of people use dating apps just to chat with people, to, meet up for casual sex. Totally fine. However, sexting apps and websites are set up to help you specifically find casual, often one-time sexting partners. Now, to get paid for sexting, you have to be uninhibited when it comes to sex. Obviously. I mean, this may seem like a pretty simple thing when we're talking about sexting, and of course, you can have boundaries, and you should make those clear when you're talking to clients, just as you would in real life. But for the most part, you do need to be open to talking all things sex and sexuality in order to make this side hustle worthwhile. Because as I mentioned, there are plenty of people who jump onto sexting apps because they're maybe a little nervous to share what they're interested in sexually, or a kink that they want to try with their partner, with the dating scene. So this is a safe space. This is a place for people to come to act out on those fantasies and try new things. So if you're thinking, I want to sext people for money, you have to assume that there might be things that you're going to have to talk about, and it might not be something that you're interested in sexually, but somebody else is. So if that doesn't appeal to you, this might not be the side hustle for you. So keep that in mind. You might come across people who are keeping this a secret from their IRL partner. Now, unfortunately, I feel like that's just sort of how the internet works. There's so much anonymity, the power to be able to hide behind your computer screen, your phone screen. It's really easy to create a fake account somewhere and sext someone online with little to no consequence to your personal life. And people will take advantage of that. Now, as somebody providing this service, you can certainly ask everyone you chat with if they are single. However, just know that they could lie, but really there's no way for you to be sure. As far as I see it, you're providing a service much the same way a sex worker would. And so in that regards, whether or not somebody comes to you and they are partnered up or they are married, whatever it might be, it's not your responsibility to make sure that what they're doing with you is okay, because you're not a part of their relationship. You are very much just about you, and you can only control what you can control. You cannot tell this person to break up with their significant other so that they can sext with you. You could, but I don't know if that would be the most fair decision to make. So just something to keep in mind that, that's out of your realm of control, but that's okay. It's not in the grand scheme of things super important. Now, on the flip side, what I think is really fun about this potential job is that you might also come across people who need reassurance. And I find it so sexy and so rewarding to build up someone's confidence when it comes to sex. I think of it like how a masseuse will when they fulfill someone's needs. They provide a relaxing service to their client. They know that their client enjoys it, and they feel fulfilled knowing that they helped someone with that release. Really, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily the same kind of release that one gets from sexting, but who am I to judge? So I do think there is something sexy about that that should be appreciated and enjoyed both by the sexter and the sextee. If those are words, and if they are not, they are now. Now, something to keep in mind, this is kind of the nitty-gritty business side of things. Most sexting platforms will take a cut of your cash. And as I go through a couple recommendations for sexting apps to check out, I will try to highlight these as best as possible. But this makes perfect sense to me. It's similar how OnlyFans takes a commission from every membership you gain. Sexting apps and websites are likely to take some small percentage of what you earn. Think of it as a fee for using their app and finding people to sext with for cash. And obviously, every platform is going to have different fees. So please, please, please do that sexy research. Another kind of nitty-gritty aspect is that, and this might be something that people have concerns about when thinking about any sort of sexy side hustle, this can get uncomfortable. However, a lot of these apps have provided excellent, easy ways out. So people that I've talked to who have made sexting a side hustle, they very much want people to understand that most of the time, the platform is full of respectful people, all there with the same common purpose to have some fun. However, as with anything, there will be a few bad apples in the bunch, and I don't know if it's their goal to ruin it for the rest or that's just what happens. But in any case, if you do find that people are pushing your limits or making you feel uncomfortable in any way, they're asking inappropriate questions, bringing up topics that are off limits, whatever the case, a lot of these services have made an easy way out, such as texting the word over in all caps, which will immediately end the sexting sessions. And in addition, a lot of platforms have a way to report offensive or harassing behavior that you might experience. So just know that these apps are on your side. They know that due to the nature of what people are talking about, there is the possibility that some people will take things to the next level, maybe get out of hand a little bit. So if that does happen, they are providing a way for you to make an easy getaway. So just, something to bear in mind, because I'm sure, with everything, so much of our lives on the internet these days, it's always a concern of a lot of people of how much risk is there involved. So another thing to kind of make you feel better about any risks is that you can stay anonymous. Many of these apps and websites, they will need your information for payment purposes. However, creating a screen name and taking photos that don't give away too much of your identity is pretty easy with these apps and platforms because they understand the need for anonymity when it comes to sexy side hustles. And then the same rules apply to sending nudes. I think there's a misconception that sexting and nudes go hand in hand every time, and that's not the case. So if sending nudes is not something that you want to do, you don't have to do it. Now, you could miss out on some clients, sure, potentially. However, I think that there are plenty of clients, and I include myself in this as well, who are just as happy with simply texting or talking on the phone as they are trading nudes or camming. I know we all know how nerdy I am. I find so much pleasure in a sexy, dirty message. Like, honestly, I think it fulfills what I'm looking for, and I can still leave things up to the imagination. And I know that I'm not alone in that. So if you're thinking, I don't want to put pictures of myself out on the internet, I don't want to be sending nudes to strangers I don't know, that's absolutely fine. There's no reason that you still can't make sexting a side hustle. Just as we do with anything sexually, know your limits, know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. Overall, I think it's pretty clear that this is a side hustle that is very much you get what you put into it. So what you get out of this financially or otherwise is very much dependent on how much effort, time, care, all of that combined that you put into it. So if you're someone who is relatively available for most clients on various different platforms, you're probably going to make good money. If you're somebody with limited time and you've only signed up for one platform, you're probably going to make less money. And it's really up to you. Because again, if we're talking about a side hustle and not a full-time job, it just depends how much side time you actually have. So now that we've covered some of the basics to think about when heading into this sexy side hustle, I do want to break down a few of our favorite apps that we want to recommend for sexting. So these are, and I do have a complete list at sofiagray.com if you want to check them out and read all the pluses and minuses for each one. But I'm just going to go over a few here and break them down with as much information as possible. So let us start with Chat Recruit. I mentioned Chat Recruit briefly at the beginning of the episode, but this is a paid sexting service. Chat Recruit is known for being predominantly for women who are looking to flirt and earn some, extra something with men in the US. And you can do phone calls or video chats for extra cash. You can earn as much as $2 per minute on this chat site. So they're very upfront about how much you will take home at Chat Recruit. So the other one I mentioned earlier on in the episode is called Friendly, that one with the PH, Friendly. And this is a site that you will want to check out if you are interested in making decent money while sexting, but aren't necessarily a professional sexter. So I will be talking about another one called Arouser, and Arouser caters more to dominatrixes looking for clients. Friendly, on the other hand, is more of your everyday girl just trying to earn some extra cash. So think of it as like the beginning sexting service. And what I like about Friendly is that you get to keep 70% of all phone and video chat earnings and 90% of all gifts you're given, because this is one where people on the app have the option to give you gifts most of the time in the form of tips. Now, Arouser, and that's AROUSR, is a sexting platform that offers both paid and free sexting services. And Arouser uses a credit-based system for users who choose to pay. They buy credits from Arouser and spend them on the people that they want to engage in paid sexting with. So the more credits you have, the more opportunities you have for sexting. But what makes Arouser stand out is they use chat hosts. So people on the site who get paid to sext are often pros. Like I mentioned, they can be dominatrixes, sex workers, professional sexters, whatever it is, whatever their game is, they're the best at it. So this means that you're pretty much guaranteed to have a great time because they know what they're doing. But it's also somewhere where people should go if they know exactly what they're looking for too. Because you're talking to professionals. If you know what you want, these people are going to be the ones who know how to give it to you. So I know that that's more of an idea of where you can go to engage in sexting as opposed to being the one giving it out. But it really is like a great outlet for if you are looking for somebody to sext with, especially a professional. As an added bonus, if you sign up, once you verify your email, you get 100 free credits to use on the platform as a nice little incentive to, get you going. And then just so you know how the credit system works, requesting pictures and videos generally requires more credits than simply sexting. A couple more apps for people to check out before I wrap things up. So one of them is called Flirt Bucks, as in I will pay bucks to flirt. And I think this one, first of all, the title is absolutely adorable. But basically, if you want to get paid to flirt, Flirt Bucks is there. And this site has their own personal chat console where you can chat directly with customers privately and securely. The site hires mostly female chat hostesses, and most of them are from the United States or Canada. And they keep it really simple. They pay through PayPal. I know that's something that I appreciate. So it seems like an easy way to go for sure. Another one is called Lewd Chat. That's LEWD Chat. And that is all about completely anonymous sexting with people online. It's a free platform as well. So the main sexting chat room is open 24/7. They're in the process of adding more specific types of chat rooms as we speak. So keep an eye out for that. Plus, you don't need to actually register for this website at all. You literally just click the chat now button, verify your age, and then you get straight to sexting. So if you're looking for something quick and dirty, literally, Lewd Chat might be the way to go for you. Now, there are plenty of other options. And as I mentioned, we cover a bunch more in our blog post on sofiagray.com. However, the last one that I do want to mention is Adult Friend Finder. And this is a free sexting service. It's also very kink friendly. I think it's one of the more popular sites that anybody listening might have already heard about. And again, what I love about Adult Friend Finder is how kink friendly they are. They credit themselves as the world's largest swinger community. And typically it's commonly used for hookups and finding threesomes, foursomes, whatever-somes, but they do also offer free sexting services. So you can sort through various filters. They get pretty specific too as well, down to the relationship status, kinks, fetishes, location, etc. And this can be great because if you are looking to eventually hook up in real life, you can search in your area. So, an added bonus, but if you are looking to stay anonymous and just have fun on the app, that's always an option as well. You can set your filters to match you with people not close to you or as close as you want them to be. So, a nice added bonus. One thing that I do want you to note, though, is that because this is a community of people, most of whom are looking for something that will eventually lead to an IRL hookup, it might not be the best app for casual, online-only fun. That's not to say that you can't find that there if you're looking just to sext, and just be honest. Just be very upfront about what you're looking for. And keep in mind that if that's not what people on the app are looking for, you might have a more difficult time finding someone to sext with. There are plenty of apps that we've already highlighted that they are specifically meant for sexting. So if that is all you want, maybe not the app for you. If you want to give it a go and then see where it leads, give it a shot. So again, there are so many others. Please check out our blog post with more. My last thing is I do just want to leave you with a few last minute sexting tips and tricks because it's been a long time at home in the last year. And I know a lot of us, myself included, Tracy as well, are not partnered up. And there's only so much time you can spend with your toys before you start to, want to experiment with somebody else. So I encourage everyone to at least check out one of these apps or sites. And whether you decide to sext with somebody or not, just to give it a go, just to see what's out there. And if you do, here are a few things to get you started. First of all, start slow. Don't be too much in the beginning. It's a huge turnoff. I know that I feel like I can come across as too much sometimes. So if you are logging on to a site like Arouser or Friendly, and obviously you're looking for some steamy sexting action, totally cool. However, that doesn't mean that all flirtations and polite conversation go out the window. I think just like we talked about sliding into somebody's DMs, it does not hurt to have some nice conversation before diving into the super explicit stuff. Along those same lines, be respectful. Straddling the line between I hope you're having a good day and I want to sit on your face is kind of an art. So sliding into a sexting conversation should feel natural and not at all uncomfortable for either person. But if there is some awkwardness, I don't think that's so unnatural. My recommendation is just to either talk about it or stop and find somebody new to sext with if you're able to. The whole point of this is to have fun. Last thing is to make sure you're paired with the right person. Do a kink check early on. Have a conversation about what you're both looking for. Bring up your latest fantasies. Sexting can be a great way to test out new kinks and bring up the idea of incorporating toys with a partner. It's just like as a side hustle, the act of sexting itself is an opportunity to be whatever you make it. If you want to get in and get out, figuratively speaking, that's fine. However, if you want to learn a little bit more about your body, communicate with somebody, make a little money maybe, make it how you will. And, have fun, but also be safe, when it comes to exchanging your personal fantasies with someone online, whether or not you do know them in real life or you're interested in meeting in real life. You're absolutely valid for feeling cautious about it. It's the internet. We know how crazy the internet can be. However, using the right apps and finding the right sexting partner will ensure that you both have a fantastic time. And that's what sexting's all about. So please, please enjoy yourselves, be safe, have fun, and don't be afraid to get a little dirty because I know I will.
Whether you're looking to buy or sell used panties, Sofia Gray has got you covered. If you want to earn some extra cash, you can set up your own shop in minutes and start selling your own used underwear. And they take no commission. You'll keep 100% of every single sale that you make.
If you've got a kink for used panties and you're looking to buy your next pair, look no further. The whole process is completely anonymous. Sofia Gray will never share, store, or archive your personal information. The name Sofia Gray won't even appear on your bank receipt. So head on over to sofiagray.com to start selling or buying used panties now.
If you're a fan of the podcast, we hope you'll subscribe on your favorite podcast streaming platform. You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts to let us know what you think. And while you're at it, feel free to share your feedback or questions by sending an email to podcast@sofiagray.com. Until next time, I'm Tracy Buzz.
And I'm Lacey Bloom.
And we're here to say, let them be kinky. There is no kink shaming here.